Good morning, everyone. I'm Tomas, I'm a book designer, and I will be presenting this wonderful book today, and we'll speak about book design in general. And as you all know, our theme today is food, so it's more or less related to the topic. So, what is book design? One of my favorite definitions comes from UNESCO from 1964, and it's like this. A book is a non-periodic printed publication of at least 49 pages, exclusive of the cover pages, published in the country and made available to the public. The most crazy part is this 49 pages. All these scientific, theoretic definitions, usually they don't work in real life. What works much better for me is a quotation of Ulises Carrion, artist from Mexico who spent his life later in Amsterdam working with books. He says, a book is a sequence of spaces. And this is what worked for me much better, what makes me think. Usually, while working on a book, usually I try to rethink what it is. It's so common to be between books. We see them every day, and usually we don't notice them. So while designing it, I have some time to think about it, and so these are some thoughts on some complicated way of explaining it. A book, first of all, is an object which doesn't exist without time. I mean, you can't see it. You can't see it without spending some time. You must flip through the pages, and this makes sense only with the time, because it has some past, it has some now, and some future. You can go, of course, backwards, but still, then this will be future, and this will be past. So, when I think about it as a time, I think as a music. Like when you look at score, when you listen to the concert, you can think about past, what will be in future, and what you have now. Another approach is to think about it as it's an like architecture, because it deals with space and object. So this is more or less clear. And when we have time, space, and object, generally we have dance, because it deals with all these things. But this is a very complicated way to explain it. So my favorite definition is to say that book design is like choreography, it's like dance. Now it's a time for a more simple way. As I said, it's an everyday object, almost like food. We meet it every day, and sometimes even we don't think what it is. So book design is more or less like cooking, because everyone has the same tools to do it, like let's say fonts, papers, software, printing machines. Everyone are using the same tools but get different result. So why this is so different? As usually it comes to some skills, and when you when wants to think about an object, you must analyze what's happening. So more or less, to work with a new book, to start a new book, it's a feeling like you open a fridge and you see what's there, and you try to make some food out of it. So this is the fridge in this case, but the thing is that you see here less than 2% of all images which are in the book. In the book we have 902 images. So to see all the material which you got from someone who edited, someone who compiled or wrote a book is almost impossible. It's not one fridge, it's like dozens of fridges. And one more detail, it's usually not the book designer is the one who is loading this fridge up. It's like to go to someone's place and open the fridge when you are just a guest. So that's more or less the feeling. With this amount, in this particular case, with this amount of material, the first feeling I got is the feeling of cosmos. Because apples may also look a bit like planets traveling somewhere in space. And my friend Kęstas Kirtiklis, he's a philosopher, and this was his first impression of the book. When he opened it, he said, "This is a cosmic book." So when we look at this thing, after looking at apples, we see all these numbers, this obsession to number everything, because Korbinian Eigner, the artist or the pomologist behind this, initially he was trying to make a catalog. So he was numbering everything, and you see some characters here, like October 2nd week, November. It's when you look closer, you can see this obsessive attention to details. So this was my first experiences with the material, and I thought, so let's start to design it. So this is the feeling when you start to work, another feeling. When it comes to dance, Polish choreographer Robert Bondara said, even silence could be danced. So this is more or less it. I will show you another book now. It looks like this. And when it comes to silence, this feeling is here too, because you see just photos, and it looks like one might think that book is like silent place for some content. But still, it's a book, and still it feels designed. So what's this? I would say this is experience. When people speak about web today, websites, we speak about designing the experience. It's the same in books. You must do some experience. And another thing, I'll come to this a bit later. So experience in the book. First of all, we see it, and we have some information already. Then we take it, we feel the texture, we feel the wave. It's some more experience. And then you open it, and you can feel how the leaves are falling down. It's actually, we haven't read it, we didn't look at it, but we have lots of experience, right? Lots of feelings. And these are like most important things, just to see, to touch, to open it. So the food is also experience. So my approach is, one of my approaches to book design is to think it as to prepare, as I said before, just cooking, to create some experience. This silent and empty page actually isn't completely empty. It comes from Favini factory, which is based near Venice, and this was their first project. We used first, let's say, project related with nature. We used algae from Venice lagoon to produce the paper, because there are too much algae in Venice lagoon and it's like rubbish. So we tried to use like 15% of it and to save trees, to save pulp. So this happened several years ago, and last November we came to some new ideas, several papers in which corn or oranges or coffee is used. So this what you see in front has corn inside, like 15% of corn, or like here we have 15% of oranges. 15% is like this. And we add some more 15% of post-consumer waste, like reused paper, basically. So when it comes to production of this paper, in juice factory, when we produce, let's say, orange juice, we have 40% of juice and 60% of waste. This waste is still very useful, and we use it for to produce essential oils, to produce biofuel, and some other things. After that, we have citrus pulp, which is still very useful. And we use it for, let's say, burning and making some energy, some heat. We use it as a fertilizer, and from now on, we use it also in paper. I came to these ideas while working on this book, and here on cover we use paper with corn, and the one inside is made with kiwis. So I was looking for some ideas, what kind of paper we could use, and this series is called Naturkunden, which is nature science, nature things, and it fitted so much to the theme that I couldn't withstand just to use it right here. So, let's flip to another page. This is kiwi. To use some things like this in paper sounds a bit like to adding some spice into your food. So adding some spice into a book is also possible. And in this particular case, I had some additional things in the book fixed with paper clips, like here, or this map. The most interesting experience for me with this book was in Frankfurt Book Fair. I was showing my books for several people, and Bertram Schmidt from Hermann Schmidt Verlag Mainz, while looking at this book, he started to reposition this card, like maybe it looks better here, and I was looking at this process, and I thought that he's designing the book I already designed. So when we talk about experience, this was something like this. We are coming back to some more spices. This is made from olives. A book is an object made from paper, as you know, and on paper you can write. On paper you can discuss, while reading a book, you can discuss with author, or you can bend a corner, or you can say something like, oh, true, and to mark some text here, like, it's all possible. Let's say if you don't like it, you can flip to the other page and it's still clean, and you can make some more marks. Or this is made from almonds, and the next one is from hazelnuts, and the next one is from coffee. One can enjoy it endlessly. In general, there are two binding solutions, hardcover and paperback things. So in general, it's treated that hardcover is more expensive, and it works better. I mean, you can open it easily, and paperback is cheap things like which doesn't open, and you must hold it like this. And usually, these are the most popular binding things, but don't feel limited to that. Invent something. What I like very much are two more books from the same Naturkunden series. The series is edited by Judith Shalansky, and she is our creative artistic boss, and you can see her hand everywhere. So the thing is that hardbound book is a bit too heavy to carry somewhere, and paperback is the one which doesn't open. So these solutions are with flexo cover. It's quite easy to carry it, and it opens just perfectly. But it requires some special technology. And while I was living in Vilnius, Lithuania, I didn't had an ability to use this. So I was walking in printing house and in binding house and watching the process and trying to invent something above these two paperback and hardbound book. This was the solution, to have open spine and to cover it a bit, and then you have a book which is light and it's opening very well. And it's done by machines. This paper is glued to the block as an end paper. So when it's done by machines, it's fast, it's cheap, and it's all very accurate. I have chosen this for the beginning. It's Adam's apple, or Adam apple, like the first apple, like something like this. When it comes to this particular book, there are lots of ways to look at it. There are lots of ways to read it. So the first one was this cosmos idea. The second thing is pomological way of looking at it, names, all these numbers. There is an index which has alternative names, and you can just get crazy just looking at names. One apple is called Macintosh, for example, and you can find it. So the other way to look at it is historical way, or let's say memories. Last week I was in Budapest and I was showing this book to my friends, and one of them, Anna, remembered some things from childhood, remembered her grandmother saying każde bobo lubi lobo, which in Polish means every child likes lobo. And this kind of apples is called lobo. So this book recalls some memories also. Another thing which I see is relationships. Like these two apples are like cheek to cheek, like we are having some contact, we are having some relationship. When it comes to art, peers in a book looks very surreal for me, and we have some strange character. Like every image has a character, but these peers are something surreal. Would you like to enjoy it for a bit more? And the last slide in this presentation are two apples. Again, it's some contact. And one of my friends in Budapest, Zsuzsa, she said that it's never you are never get bored to look at these 900 images, because it's like to look at someone's eyes. It sounds very familiar, but every eyes are different, and like every couple of apples are something different. This book contains more than 500 pages. This coming back to this to the fridge, to this dozens of fridges, and it was quite hard to deal with such a huge amount. I can flip to another one if you want. While thinking about this presentation, I came to two statements. One of them is book design for me is a provocation. First of all, you get the content and you get provocated by it to make a form. I want to flip. Another way of this is to think about book design, what it is, what it means for me, for us, for everyone. There is this classical definition of book. People in communication sciences are being taught of it, and it says that book is information carrier, book is information container. But for me, it totally doesn't work, because for me it sounds like 19th century, like invention of linotype, and when books were really booming and we became cheap object, cheap way of communicating. But later we were exchanged by newspapers, magazines, internet, Twitter, and Twitter is doing this job of let's say of information, of making revolutions. In 19th century, books were making revolutions, changing some law or changing the approach, changing our lives. And now today, book is not obligated to make any revolution. And this is so great, because finally the book can be just the book. It's an experience, so it's more or less like cinema, like this flipping of pages. We meet with friends and we speak about films, we speak about music. Why not to speak about books? It's such a nice excuse to start a conversation, to show a book to someone and start a conversation. It's like food. The book is what makes us social, I would say. So these were some thoughts on books for today, for this wonderful morning. Have a nice day. Thank you for attention.